It's an amazing thing to stand up here on this knoll where the English King Edward and his commanders camped, because according to chroniclers, they were able to oversee their whole army, but they also saw the Scots approach and the Scots kneel in front of them. Edward was reported to have said, "Are yon Scots kneeling for mercy?" they jested. But what they were actually doing is they were closing ground and setting their pikes. Now there was an argument up in this knoll with Gloucester, Hereford and King Edward of England. Gloucester wanted to rest the army because they'd marched all day to get here the day before and to relieve Stirling Castle. And Edward refused. He wanted to fight. And the Scots came out of Balquhiderrock wood there, just in the distance. And roughly where that hedge is, right in front of you, that's where Douglas's charge of the Scottish right wing would have been. The Great Bend of the Bannockburn is just slightly to the left of that. Now, when Gloucester saw the Scots spearmen approach, it must have been phenomenal. He's run off this knoll in a panic because he knows the more the ground that they manage to chew up and close, the less effect an English cavalry charge is going to have. And Gloucester has gone down there, mounted. People have been confused. No one's known what he's doing, quite what's happening. There are no orders being given. Knights are mounting in alarm, and Gloucester charges just beyond that telegraph pole in front of us. Between there and the hedge, the Douglas wing sets its pikes, receives Gloucester's charge. Gloucester is unhorsed, and he is pierced by many wounds to the death. People are watching in shock that the great knight Gloucester has been killed. Other knights are mounting in alarm. So when you look at that line of the hedge, you're looking at the English view of the Scots pikes. And they're closing ground. Just beyond the pond there with the swans is the centre, where Robert the Bruce himself has his and his brother's division. There's no mention of Edward Bruce on the second day of the battle. He may have been injured, who knows. Many Englishmen drowned in that pond as well because Bruce pressed them back. He either came through that pond or he went around it. Maury is on the other side there with his spearmen closing in. The net is closing on the English elite. You can see the pools in the Carse. There are many more in wet weather. Many more. There's as much as 34 pools or something like that recorded where the English is a great place to camp and get water. This is firm ground. This is firm, hard ground down there. It's not a bog, it's not a marsh, it's a Carse. It has undulations that after heavy rain, there are constant pools of water. But what a view up here. Unbelievable. What a feeling I get up here. And in a panic, you can imagine Bruce coming through that pond, the massacre that's taken place in front of you, the route where knights and foot soldiers are scarpering south there, and the Scots are closing in. Fearing Edward's capture, his bodyguards got him off this mound, probably over the back there, and took him up to Stirling Castle. A lot of the trees that were here would have been sawed down the night 2 days before for firewood and such like, but he was led off this knoll anyway. And it said he really had to be dragged away because he was fighting furiously, but the Scots would have been all 50, 60 yards in front of him by now, closing in, massacring his army, and the English are just panic-stricken, and they have been routed, and they're trying to make their way home. This is the battle site of the Battle of Bannockburn. It was not fought in the dry field beyond Balquhiderrock woods there. There is absolutely no way that the English cavalry could get access up those steep embankments, and Bruce had made sure of that. He blocked off every bottleneck area to deny them access. This is where the battle was. This is where the Battle of Bannockburn was. This is a part of our heritage. This is such an important site that we really have to preserve it. One other thing, from the Great Bend in the Bannockburn there, on the left, straight over to the Mill Stream, which is that line of trees over there, is 831 yards. William Scott has proved this. In order for Scots to force the stoppage of a cavalry charge, so if you had 800 and odd knights into the first charge, they would have to be 25 pikemen deep. So it's estimated that the Scots had not 5,000, not 6,500, but they had somewhere between 20 and 30,000 men to be able to pull that off. Such are the laws of pressure. What a place.